So over my last 18 years of professional cooking experience, I have cooked salmon so many different ways. But this technique I'm about to show you today is the one I keep coming back to over and over and over again. It's my go-to salmon recipe. And by the end of this video, I really hope you are on board with the term bacon of the sea. Because straight up, that's what salmon skin is. There's no time to waste, my friends. Now let's go! Now, first off, what kind of salmon should you use? For years, I've been buying this salmon from Schooner Bay. I think they do a really good job of farming salmon, and it just has that right amount of fat content in it for me to make it really tender. You know, king salmon is also great, and if you can find sockeye salmon that has a decent amount of fat in it, that's awesome. For me, the most important thing is fat content here, because I know a lot of wild salmon might be more nutritious, but they are always just so freaking lean. They are shredded like Bruce Lee of the rivers, man. And without that fat, you end up with dry fish pretty much no matter what. So here I have a side of salmon. It's not a complete side, but it's enough. And so you see this portion right here with all that extra fat. My favorite piece, that is the belly of the salmon. And you might also be able to see how thin it is compared to this part, right? So what I would recommend is simply taking this belly off. And of course, I'm still gonna cook this, but it's gonna be done in less than half the time that it takes for this big piece to cook. So I separate it. And you can see on this salmon, this little cartilage, I think it is right here, this white line. It's not that bad on this specific piece of fish, but I do like to take it out. Be careful when you do this. I'm putting a little pressure on this side, and I'm just gonna guide down with the tip of my knife, keeping that pressure on the other side, like so. And then I'll just do the same thing going the other way. And from there, kind of pull that out with the knife. Now that is all out, so there's no hard bits in the fish. Another thing is to feel for bones. Your fishmonger will try to do the best job they can, but sometimes a bone is missed. So I'm just feeling down where they removed these pin bones, and I'm just feeling that there's no bones there, which there isn't. They did a good job. Now another thing, and this is kind of my biggest pet peeve, is making sure the fish is properly scaled. I can look at this right now and see that it is. It's actually really nicely done. But if it wasn't, you're gonna run a knife along the back like so. This can also be a good idea just to get rid of some of the moisture. You can see it start building up on the knife here. When you go to buy your salmon, just ask the person, is this fish scaled? And if not, ask them to scale it for you if you don't want to do it at home, because it can make a big mess. As the scales just go flying everywhere and they'll stick to your skin for like 3 months, and then you'll find it, it's weird. They're weird, they're sticky little things. Now before slicing this up, I'm just gonna try to get off as much moisture as possible, just using a little paper towel here. And this is how you're really gonna get the crispiest skin. You know, you could also dry age the fish. That's a whole nother topic for really crispy skin, but you don't need to do that to get crispy skin. So that's dry as I can possibly get it with this paper towel. And now we'll just slice it into nice pieces. I like a kind of a bigger piece. I don't want to go skimpy with it. So I'll get 4 portions out of this piece of fish. Easy as that. And if you ask me, I do think you should temper fish as well, meaning pull it out of the fridge prior to cooking, but you don't need to temper it as long as you would like a big thick ribeye steak or something, right? So I only do these about 20-30 minutes and they're good to go. The next thing I like to do, and you don't need to do this either, is to score the fish. But you'll see why at the end of the video that I do this. So I'm doing it like a sushi roll, right? Right through the middle there. And then those halves in half like so. And this is gonna play into my bacon of the sea technique, which you will see in a bit. Now I add a very light coating of oil. That's just avocado oil. You can really use whatever kind of oil you like. And for me, that just acts like a binder, right? So it helps this salt that I'm putting on right now stick, which is the next step. We're just gonna salt this fish nicely all the way around. And I did the exact same thing with the belly here, except I did not score the skin. Since it's so thin, it's gonna cook so fast, we don't really need to do that. So I'm just using a steel pan here. If you're not comfortable cooking in steel pans, non-stick will do just fine. I'm not gonna judge you for it. And the heat here is between low and medium, but a tiny bit closer to the medium side. That's pretty important. Salmon skin is a little more sensitive than a lot of other fish and can burn pretty quick, so you don't want the heat too high. Now, a little bit of cooking oil going in. This is just avocado oil. Any kind of neutral oil will do. All right, here we go. Fish in. Whenever you're putting any kind of protein into a pan, lay it away from you. So if it splashes oil, it goes over there and not onto you. And also, as soon as that goes in the pan, listen. Just a slight pressure on the fish, not enough to smash or damage the flesh in any way, but just giving that skin a really good contact to the pan. You can even use these little fish weights you'll see in professional kitchens that sets over the fish and puts a little weight on it. Those work really well. Actually want to get one. And keep in mind here, because we're gonna baste this fish in the end with a little bit of butter, it is gonna carry over cook so much more. meaning when I take it off the heat, it's gonna keep rising in temperature. If you're just baking salmon in the oven or just cooking it normally, you might wanna pull it at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. But because I'm basting and because of all that extra heat, I'm gonna pull this between 105 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's gonna come up to a beautiful medium temperature. That's about how I like my salmon. Even medium rare is good too, but anywhere between medium rare and medium is nice for me. The fish is really tender. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes right now. And if you can see right here, it's cooked about a third of the way up through the fish. This is when we wanna flip it. And I like to take my spatula, turn it upside down so that curvature is going down, and then get under the fish like this and just scrape and flip. Perfect. And there we have some glorious looking skin. Now at this point, I'm turning the heat all the way down to low. And I'm just adding about a teaspoon of butter. And I'm gonna wait for that butter to begin foaming before I baste. You don't wanna baste too early. That's good, nice and hot, bubbly. Now we can start basting our fish. You could also add some thyme or garlic or whatever you want at this point. I don't really have any fresh herbs today, so I'm just doing straight butter, which is absolutely fine. Even right now, right? Flipped, basted, it's been about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, that's it. At this point, if you want, I would really start taking the temperature on this thing. Like I said, it's gonna overcook so fast. With this basting, you gotta be really careful. It's about 78 degrees internal right now. So we wanna bring it up, say 105, and then we'll pull it off and let it rest. So that's it, literally 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes of basting, and it's hit our target temp. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this. And I just put it on my spatula here to rest so there's some airflow underneath. I'll rest this for 3 or 4 minutes. It will continue climbing in temperature, and then we will eat it. All right, my friends, so here's what you do. And I'm pretty sure I coined this term. Bacon of the sea, that's why we scored it. Can you see what these are? Oh, that's just a salmon skin, Sonny. No, it's bacon of the sea. Check it out. Take off a little strip like so. Ridiculous. I'm convinced that anybody who thinks fish skin is gross, if they try some proper crispy salmon skin like this for the first time, there's just no turning back from that. This is just as good, if not better, than bacon. Now let's get into the flesh here and just see how that flakes away. Wow, look at that. Wow. I mean, it's so flaky, so light. This is cooked about medium. It's amazing how much food carries over when you're basting. And I pulled this at 105, but I can just feel how incredibly tender this is. Light, flaky, and it just has that melt in your mouth thing going on because of the fat in this schooner-based salmon. I mean, that goes down so easy. Really, really delicious. Well, my friends, thank you for hanging out with me again today. I hope you're ready to cook some salmon, impress your friends, girlfriend, dog, whatever. I don't care, parrot. I had a parrot living with me growing up. Its name was Bert. It was a frickin' psycho. And you know the deal. If you so wish, drop a like, leave a comment, turn on notifications if you want to be a psycho. And we love psychos here. And until next time, my sweet friends, you know I love you and I'm out.